What's up everybody, it is Andrew here and I'm coming at you guys with a brand new video today. And today's video I want to talk about Game B. What Game B is basically rethinking how society is in general and just giving giving an idea on how society in general and as a whole could basically be restructured in an optimal way that in my opinion reduces complexity and increases autonomy within individuals. I think if we could do those two things simultaneously, I think that'd be amazing. Because right now I feel like we're increasing complexity and we're decreasing autonomy, and that is causing a lot of friction in our society. And we need to be more fluid and less friction based and less congested on how we deal with how technology is being implemented and how it's just permeating through our culture. Their technology is increasing, and we need to adapt with it instead of fighting against it. And I think there are positive ways we can adapt. And how I think we should adapt, and what my idea is basically we need to rethink lots of different parts of society. I feel like we need to rethink our college structure. I think we need to rethink how we do daycare systems. I think we need to rethink how we do elderly retirement homes, community stuff like that. I think we need to add in more middle-aged young people, just even teens, just places for them to go and actually be around people. Because one thing COVID showed us is that the less we're around people, the more stir crazy we get. We need to be around people, we need to be talking to people, and we need to give meaningful places for people to go. So that is another place I want to focus on, is then just all different aspects of life and how we can do that. And I think malls are going to be a great advantage in that sense, and I think they can be greatly utilized. And then additionally, I think money also needs to be completely restructured, as well as social media. So I have ideas on a lot of those, even more than that, but I'll focus on those for right now. So how I want to rethink the college age people and their life experience and how everything's structured. Because whether we like it or not, there's structured society, and I think there are better structures, or a better structure that we could implement in society that would actually increase autonomy. And I think a structure that gives people more options is more beneficial. I think it is possible, and I think it would be beneficial to society. So rethinking the college years, I think that we need to be able to have more options instead of just going to university. I think at least 3 options that I have in my mind right now would be good paths to go down. And I think how we implement, how we have college credits right now, you have to get a certain amount of college credits before you graduate. I think we should rethink that as credits, as just like points in a video game. Think Pokemon Go, where you're just exploring around, you're finding stuff within the world, and you get a digital Pokemon, but you still find satisfaction out of it. So, and people do derive a lot of meaning out of video games, whether we like it or not. So I think integrating that into society it could be very positive. So the 3 ways that I think we could reimagine the college university age structure is that autonomous vehicles is number 1. I think giving people an experience where they can have a autonomous vehicle, basically a conversion van, where they can drive around the country wherever they want, and then they follow this app that gives them credits based on what they do. So say 25 points is to go and walk around or just take a hike around the Grand Canyon. You earn points for going and experiencing something in the world. Say also, I don't want it just to be necessarily experiential, in a sense that there are facts of life where people do need to kind of produce stuff, and there does need to be there's cost benefit analysis, and just all there are some real economic structures that do exist, and we need to be observant of those. So I think other ways that these things can be implemented is that, so even if you are going around your autonomous vehicle, you can earn points for say somebody who likes enjoying coding and stuff like that at night in bed or whatever, or just whenever they just don't feel like walking or whatever, it's raining, and they want to go on their computer, they can say code a program, earn a certain amount of points for that. You can say do graphic design, earn a certain amount of points for that. A lot of different avenues that you can, within that vehicle, experience so much that I feel like would just give autonomy to people in general. So that's one way. I think one, even not even just way, but part of this entire structure I'm seeing. I feel like I see. So another idea that I would have is that we have creative studios in a sense. So instead of, say, you spend a year doing the autonomous vehicle thing, then you're like, well, kind of actually really like making music. So now for the next year of my educational structure, whatever, you want to go to a creative studio in, say, Chicago or whatever. And say you like hip hop music, you like raps, doing stuff like that, and you want to get involved with that. So imagine a studio full of people who are all like-minded, who are wanting to progress in hip-hop music or whatever music. Actually, I think giving diversity in music would really help a lot of these structures too, and it would help that one specifically in that certain instance, but can be used in other aspects as well. But so you go to this music studio, creative studio building, and you stay there for a few months or whatever, and you earn points by releasing a certain amount of music, doing et cetera, et cetera. And then also, I feel like a good way in there is that you should learn all the aspects of music production, of audio, of making the beat, of marketing. And I feel like it could be a full structure where you learn from top down all of the different avenues of whatever creative field you want to go into. So then as an individual after, you don't have to really, you can go out into the world and be an individual creator. I feel like a lot of people are so tuned in on very specifics that they kind of miss certain points. And I feel like having a more broad understanding of not necessarily everything, but at least your full field itself is greatly beneficial in the long run. So that's just like going to the creative studio for, say, music. That's kind of that example. And then thirdly, in the college age institution structure, obviously we need hard sciences, we need the STEM fields, we need medical fields. These have to advance and progress. So I think there is a lot of institutions that are around right now that can still work within these guidelines or lack of guidelines and still create a very hard, rigorous science, but with the freedom of individuals to really experience it. And I feel like a more deep sense. So say like colleges like University of Chicago or MIT and many others, they can still integrate into these systems and people can still choose to go to them. But I think maybe for 6 months out of it or whatever, they instead of going to normal classes, they go out in an autonomous vehicle and they explore part of the country that they might not have had access to be able to do that before, because that broadens their experiential world. It just broadens their worldview, and then so when they can go back to the university and they learn, they have a broader reality to pull from for information, from knowledge, for interpretation, and so on. And I feel like one thing a lot of universities lack right now is that they are too dogmatic and too rigid. And I think being able to introduce more individuals in these systems and give the opportunity for more individuals to be individuals in a system is entirely beneficial. So that is my college age years, universities, institutions rethinking. Also, I think we need to rethink how we will use malls in the future, because as we can see with COVID right now, a lot of small businesses are inevitably closing because of just the restrictions and everything that have been put in place. They are what they are, and they've happened. So do we want to create more friction? Do we want to just invest into something that's just kind of not working that well? And I think there's always ways we can make it work within these systems, but I think we just need to fundamentally rethink how we think of small businesses and companies like that. So I think so malls are obviously going to be more vacant. So as communities, as state government, I think they should buy up those malls and turn them into real town squares, especially in places like the Midwest or just anywhere where it gets cold in the winter. Giving people a big, large indoor place where everybody can go and they just have things to do is just incredibly beneficial, and it just brings more people together instead of tearing them apart. And I feel like we just need to, as a society, be around people, and we need to be in conversation. We need to see how other people are. We need to just have more experiences, and I feel like that can definitely improve that situation. So the government buying the malls to make community centers, I feel like the community centers can honestly be multi-purpose. I think we can have. I think we need to think really big about these situations, these malls, and what we can do with them. And I think retirement communities, because malls are huge. There's so much space in them. I think we could have easily decent-sized retirement community in like certain wings of the building, maybe just one of them. And obviously, we can't necessitate everything out of this building, but it's still a step, and we can maybe build more buildings with the knowledge of how these structures work. We can rethink it in general. So retirement communities, and then I want these to be circular by, say, also having the daycare, those type of aspects. I want those to be integrated also into the, or I could see them integrated also into the mall structure, or the community center structure, and then also things like arcades, movie theater, it's already there, bars, clubs, just stuff like that inside the malls, so then it creates a very real ecosystem for people to go out into and experience how life really is. It's like it would create a mini world, but it's a very diverse and very fruitful world to observe and to be in. I feel like just having so many different age ranges and groups of people, and then also it can be circular in the sense that obviously the young people going there are going to spend money because they're going to go to the bars and stuff like that, and that'll earn revenue for these buildings, as well as I think the daycare aspect. I think we can. I think the older generations, they don't want to be doing hard labor jobs. They don't want to be doing, say, boring clerical work or whatever that it is they're doing. And if they could, say, at 55 retire instead of 65 and then go live in the retirement community, but for, say, 25 hours of their week, they go and help in the daycare center and they just help raise the children. Obviously, we can still hire teachers who specialize in certain things, or daycare professionals or whatever. But I think having opportunities for elderly people to be able to get a warm place to live, because obviously the cold weather, it hurts a lot of their just joints and stuff like that. So you obviously see at malls like elderly people walking throughout the mall. So keeping that space for them to do that, so they have a place to be physically active is very good in my opinion. And I think we can even have actual gyms and stuff like that integrated, like a full community center. I think it's possible. Well, I know it is possible within the space. It's just whether or not we as people stand up and get these policies and these things implemented. So that is how I think we could reuse malls in a very beneficial way that would help society. So also, money is also a very big thing that is societally in limbo, in my opinion, because as cryptocurrency is on the rise, and we kind of realize the thin veil of what money really represents and how it's not really backed on anything. It's just really what the Federal Reserve thinks we can get. And there's obviously a lot of complexities that I don't understand, but that also raises the question to we shouldn't have those complexities in the first place, because it doesn't, I don't think it benefits many people, because it doesn't benefit society if society can't understand the systems that are acting on it. I don't think that's good, because people question it, and then it creates division. It creates people being upset with that system instead of understanding the system, because they just can't. They just don't know. Obviously, there's some rule systems like that the people can't know, because then they will break the rules on purpose. But for just every general day, an everyday person who just wants to understand how money works and whatnot, I think that is beneficial for them to be able to do that. So being able to rethink money is important. I think really banks and stuff like that should all just be governmentalized. I think so. I should have mentioned this at the beginning, but banks and really all the other things I mentioned too can be governmentalized by, say, like I said before, the government investing in the school structures, the government investing in the malls, and then I think the government should just kind of have websites that do these things. Instead of us relying on private companies to have our best interests in mind, we should rely on the government, who is elected to have our best interests in mind, because do you want to live in a society where you are the product, not what you can, not like your phone? Because social media companies, a lot of these companies sell your data, and that's how they make money. Your data, what you do online, is then sold by someone else to make them money. Do we want to continue down that path, or do we want to start benefiting from the fruits of our experience as people? Like, we are worth much more than these companies will give us credit for. So being able to rethink money, how it works, and governmentalize a lot of these portions of society, I feel like would increase trust, because we already do not trust, like I said, the social media companies and just corporations in general. We can acknowledge it's greed. So if we governmentalize, have a, say, a website, America.com or whatever, America.gov, you go on there, you have all of your banking information linked on the same website. You have all of your financial information on the same website, or in terms of loans and credit and stuff like that. You have all of your school information, credit hours, how many credits you have, stuff like that. Taxes easily done through a government website, instead of having to go through another company and get that done for you, or an accountant. You can just, it reduces the complexity in this stuff. So that, I think, would just increase autonomy, because people don't have as a complex of a life to constantly grapple with, so that they can just enjoy their passions more, or not even enjoy them, but pursue them, because pursuing their passions is what brings new ideas into fruition, and that's what drives the world as a whole in general. So anything that I think can benefit to that is important. I think we also need to cryptotize stocks, since already like Robinhood, you can see it already has fractional shares. So why not just make all stocks cryptotized in the sense that you can buy any fractional percentage of them, and that reduces the barrier of entry into the stock market, because right now obviously Amazon's share is more than $3,000. I'm not sure the exact price right now, but the barrier of entry to buy one share is just so high that it keeps so many people out of it. So cryptotize it, and then also streamline it through the government portal website. You have all your stocks just in one website, because the problem is there's just so many different websites, so many different apps, add-ons. If we could just make a single portal hub that we all trusted, we all voted into being, we all contributed it in some way to making, and that's like open source, blockchain, whatever, like that's, it just seems like it would make everything so much simpler, and we can just live our lives. We just don't have to deal with it. And I think we should think of our government as a vehicle, in terms of it is what protects us. It is what moves us forward through time and in space, and as a nation. So for example, like right now, personally, I see our country as like a rusted old Mustang, like 60s Mustang, even old, just whatever, just a rusted car with a brand new 2020 supercharged engine in it, and it's just rattling around. It's just going way too fast for it to keep up with. And even you could even think about airbags. The social safety net does need reimagining. It does need reimproving. It does need so much structural change. And then even you think about seatbelt, just law enforcement and courts and all this bureaucracy and stuff. It's just like constantly, it's like the little seatbelt thing won't go down, and it's constantly rubbing against your neck. It's rubbing you the wrong way. You just see the corruption, you see everything going on, and you don't like it. So what if we could just get out the car and go hop into a new one? And the new one is just a society. It's a car that works. It has Bluetooth audio. It has everything interconnected. It has a quick engine. It has anything you need. It just has it there. So you don't have to worry about it. You can go where you need to go in life. I think that it's just obvious that would be beneficial, and I think it is possible. Additionally, I think we need to re-envision social media. Social media, that aspect, I think, could be completely integrated into these ways also by how I said, the autonomous vehicle, the exploring throughout the United States, finding different things. That's another one important thing, is that the U.S. is so huge, luckily, that we have so much space to go explore, and we're not gonna really run out of space, in my opinion. We're 330 million people compared to other countries with over 1 billion in much smaller areas. We are very fortunate in that sense. So social media will tie back into it so the people exploring the U.S., maybe you earn an additional 25 points for making a vlog about it, and that vlog is then it shows up on your friend's feed that you just went over to wherever and you made a video, and then, oh, they're following you, there it is, and you see it. And also I think we should get away from followers, likes, and stuff like that. I feel like it should be almost so I feel like we should have a unified social media that is two parts. It is one that is more of a public square opinion side, and then one that is more a friends and family, just fun, happy-go-lucky side. Because obviously we see with like Instagram, it's more just like you just want to look at pictures of your friends, you want to like a picture, you want to comment on something, fun time, yada yada. But Twitter, on the opposite end, is more of a social public square, and it's more somewhere where you're talking constantly, you're thinking through ideas, you're talking about ideas. So if we could just have one social media that has both ends into it, and they're both non-corrupt and by the people and for the people, that would just be so nice. Like, and then for the opinion side of it, how I thought about it is that instead of having likes and retweets and stuff like that, the people who are you're following, they have posts, and then you have like possibly 4, maybe just 2 options, but so like agree strongly, agree, disagree strongly, and then based on what you click, so say you click I disagree, it will show a comment that has possibly an argument for a disagreement, and then you can agree with that. So you're like, okay, that reasoning makes sense to why I disagree with that, so I'm going to click agree with that, and then that will kind of uprank that one. And then so say if you there's nobody else commented on it, obviously if you click disagree, oh, why did you disagree, it tries to prompt you to comment and give your opinion. So it's not just, you have to do some work at least to, or you have to, it incentivizes to give real opinions and real thoughts, and to really think through these issues instead of just I don't like that, or I really like this, and it creates an environment of ideas that is more expansive, in my opinion. So that's all I really want to talk about right now. I wanted to keep this video short. I already recorded this whole video one time, but it ended up being 40 minutes, and I just didn't think it would be good to have a video that long talking, just because I might lose people throughout it, and even how long this one is, I still might lose people. But yeah, so I'm going to release this one, and then I'm going to release the second one, or the first video recorded secondly. So that one is longer, and I'm more just exploring these ideas, talking about them, just as how I came to these conclusions, why I want them, why I think they would be very good, and they would be a very productive and very autonomously enabling of every citizen to be able to just explore life in a more meaningful way. And I feel like meaning is also a very big underlying reason for this, is because I feel like people need more meaning, and you can only enjoy so much meaning out of one place. Like, you need to get out there, and you need to experience things, you need to do things, you need to see different people, see different points of view, and there needs to be incentives to do so. We need to incentivize getting out of the house instead of all of the incentives basically being inside the house. You can work from home, you can talk to friends from home, you can do everything from home, but you're not really incentivized to go out. We should incentivize people going outside. I feel like that needs to be back to a thing. I know obviously COVID's going on, so we can't. There's only so much we can do, but once it's over, we need to really push hard to get just an amazing new possibilities of what can be done as a society, and I think it is possible. And the thing is, I know it is possible. These ideas are completely able to be made and done, and they're already invented. We just have to stand up and say we want it. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys like this, if you could please share the video with some friends or family or whatever, if you think they would be interested in these ideas or topics, that'd be greatly appreciated. If not, all good, and thank you, and have a great rest of your day.